Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on No Exit. Oh, this movie looks good. This is a Hulu original. And the premise is this woman here. I'm so excited, I forgot to do my intro. Smash like and subscribe, etc., etc. Links in the description if you'd like to support the channel. Now, this woman here, her mother's in the hospital, but she's in rehab. If she leaves rehab, she goes to jail. And that's that happens all the time. So she decides she's going to leave anyway. So she steals a car. She breaks out, and based on a novel, this is really good. So she breaks out, steals the car, gets pulled over, but she gets pulled over because there's a big storm, and she's out in the west somewhere where the people get snowed in for days. So the cop basically forces her to pull off to the visitor center where she's going to have to spend a few days until the road's clear. So she meets a bunch of characters, a bunch of actors from... This is the guy from the insurance commercials. This is the woman from... Oh, God. She's in a bunch of movies, but she always sort of plays the same character, and a few other people who seem nice. And then at some point, she goes outside to try to get a signal with her phone, and surprisingly, there's a little girl trapped in the van, and she's screaming for help. And so now she knows that one of the 5 people trapped with her in the snow at the visitor center kidnapped this little girl and kept her in the van. So she's got to rescue her. Well, at the same time, she doesn't want to alert the person who owns the van, or, so because she doesn't know there's 5 strangers trapped in a house. So this is really cool. And then there's just flashes of, at some point she gets a gun and saves the girl, but somebody's after her. But they cut it in such a way that you don't know. You're not sure who the person is. It's called No Exit, and man, it looks good. I gotta say, this looks really good. Hulu, 20th Century Fox, rated R. I don't think she's the kidnapper. The woman here, she's definitely not the kidnapper. It's one of these dudes or the other guy. But man, it looks pretty cool. And then of course, she at some point the cops show up to arrest her because she is a fugitive technically. She ran away from her rehab. She stole a car, all to get to her mother. So she's got to deal with a lot, and it's based on a book. It looks good. So I think this guy's the obvious guy. He's the weirdo, but it's probably one of the other guys. It looks really good. I love this premise. So if I had to break it down, the first act is her at the rehab center, obviously, establishing her character. She wants to leave. They don't want to let her leave. If she leaves, she goes to jail. She tries to get, extenuating circumstances here. Nope, don't matter. You got to stay. So she leaves, and as she's leaving, it says no exit as she pushes the door. She jumps into the car, steals the car, like, bam. So she must have a bit of a criminal past if she could steal a car that fast. Somehow they don't catch her for stealing the car, even though she takes off the alarms, or sets off the alarms in the rehab center, but drives out, I guess, towards Utah. I mean, that's the sort of area of the country where you can get snowed in. You don't want to be there this time of year. You can get snowed in for a week or two. So the cops basically force her to pull off and, go to the visitor center where it's all snowed in, and there are 4 other people there. See, I don't think she's the one. Maybe that'll be the big twist. So she's forced to pull off, and then the second act, she meets all these 5 strangers at the visitor center, and then it's, she sees, trust no one. Yeah, here's the cop showing up later. That's probably late in the second act. So she is 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh, including her. So she knows that there's a girl in the van. She has to figure out which one of them did this, and she has to save the girl, and she has to avoid getting arrested. See, that's a setup. You got a protagonist here who's got everything going against her, and then the ending, of course, is she saves the girl. Yeah, I would say it ends that way. way, but there's probably be a big twist. I don't know what the big twist would be. Maybe the woman actually did it. I don't know. Maybe the girl is in on it. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely insane. Um, but yeah, this looks really good. I love this premise. It's cut real well. Um, I think the book. I think they followed the book. It feels like they did. There's a lot of detail here. That's important. The setup's great. It's the tone is right. Everything about this looks spot on. I'm giving this an upvote. As much as I hated the previous trailer, I looked at this one. Oh man, see, this is the tone you want, right? See, if they'd taken this tone, I mean, this isn't a revenge movie like the other one. But if they'd taken this kind of intense tone, then that revenge movie, instead of the bouncy soundtrack they got in, I could take seriously. I can't take that other movie seriously. It looks like I don't want to go into it again. But this movie, wow, Hulu, finally. Why aren't you putting this out in theaters? This looks like a great movie. Looks really good. I don't upvote a lot of trailers, but I'm down with this. I don't know how I'm going to see it because it's on Hulu. I'd go to the theaters to see it. You know, and quite frankly, I mean, this is kind of like it. I think of the Hateful Eight, but only because of the snow and getting snowed in with strangers. But this is intense. Like the Hateful Eight was too much, in my view. It was like too overblown for what it was. And this, man, this is what you're doing a lot with a little. You know, and this isn't a giant budget movie. It's decent, but it's not huge. And it looks spot on. The tone's right. Everything's right about this. I wish they had credits. Do they have any credits? No. It's called No Exit, rated R, and that's about all we know. So look for it soon. I will. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble for our more base takes, including a Hollywoke hot take and a news blast. And we'll see you